Hey there, and welcome to Teacher Talk for Parents. I'm Helen.
I'm Donna.
And this episode is about taking your kids to the movies over the summer. I mean, it's summertime. That's a fun activity for parents to do.
And you know what? Those tickets, they're kind of expensive, but it is
There's deals out
there. There are deals, and it's nice and cool.
Yes.
So it's a good place to go for the summer.
Air conditioning. And we do that throughout the school year as well.
Absolutely.
Like movies is a great field trip idea that we also do. So we experience the movies with your children as well.
Yep, movies and shows. I brought a ticket, Helen.
You did? A prop?
I did.
We like props.
I brought a ticket. So I recently went to see Donna Summer on Broadway.
Oh, that's right.
It was phenomenal.
That's a whole other level, taking your child to a Broadway show.
I get it, but another way to get your child involved and asking questions, and well, that's what we're going to talk about today, right? Just getting them hyped and ready and thinking about what they're seeing and what they're doing.
Yes. So, parents, do you want to have more conversation with your children or child? Of course you do. We all hate the one-word answers. So we're going to talk about how to get them to have a conversation about whatever movie you just saw.
Thought-provoking conversations. You don't want the yes and no's. So we'll definitely give you some tips and tricks to get your child to show and share what they have learned.
So, what we do in the classroom to get that conversation going is really asking detailed questions and specific questions. Here's another tip. Every movie, especially kids' movies out there, has a book that goes with it.
True.
And I know that when I used to take my class to the movie, I would always read them the book first.
Absolutely.
And go through the whole conversation questions that we are going to give you in just a moment.
Yeah. Do you do that? Yeah, and the movie would be the culminating project. So it would be something that we would use as a celebration after the book. So yeah, you read the story. Many times the story is hopefully in chapters, so you'll spend a little bit of time reading those chapters every day or every other morning.
Well, for the younger grades, it's not in
younger
chapters.
Grades, not necessarily, but it depends. There are some early readers that have those small chapters, but with that said, reading the book first definitely helps, so that way you can have more of a connection to the movie when you see it.
Right. And then what I did in my class is after the movie, compare and contrast the book to the movie, because adults, parents, we know that the movie is never the same as the book.
Yeah. And that's always the fun part too. You can use the book to not only support what you're watching, but comparing it to what you've seen. So I like going to movies with students and being able to talk more about how the book is different from the movie, and even having them add things, like what would they want to change, or what did they not see that they want to see.
Yes. Okay, so the questions that we ask to get the conversation going.
Yeah.
And this is in the book, also same questions, ideas for after the movie as well. Here's the general outline. The general outline is you ask about, you read the book, but then afterwards or during, you want to talk about the character, the setting of the book. What do I mean by setting?
Setting, where it takes place, what's around there, where, not just where the story is in one scene, but where they go to. So the different places, the setting as a whole, different places that the story takes place in.
And then every book, every movie has a problem. So the main character versus like side characters, and that's a whole other conversation. Who is the main character? Who are the other characters? The main character usually always has a problem, and then something happens in the book, something happens in the movie, and then we get to
finally the solution.
The solution, exactly. So that's the step. It's like character, setting, problem, what happens to solve the problem, and then how did they finally solve that problem.
And in between all of those are steps. So at the all the actions that take place to get to the problem. So there's that rising action, right? Those rising points in the storyline that get to the problem, and of course the steps that it takes to get to the solution. So in between all of those are little things that you can have good discussions about.
All right, so let's use an example.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so the last kid movie I saw was Coco.
Yay! I loved that movie.
I know.
Helen. I almost cried, but I didn't.
I think
but
I
always,
did.
Spoiler alert, when Coco does pass, and she and the son, I forgot his name now, finally goes home.
Oh my goodness, I forgot it too. Is it Miguel?
Miguel, yes, Miguel. Miguel goes home. It was just so sad. I did kind of cry at the end too when they were all coming back from El Dia del Muerto, and you got to see all of the family members.
Yes.
It's just kind of a happy, sad time. But yes, I loved Coco. It was an awesome movie.
Yes, and it won
That's right.
awards.
It did.
So many people loved that movie.
It was good.
All right, so what are some specific questions that we can use using Coco as the example that parents could have honestly, I thought of so many that parents, like that movie Coco talked about so many different things.
It's packed with a lot of themes and concepts.
And each one of those themes and concepts could be a conversation that you have with your child. Now, do you have to force them to have that conversation all at one sitting? No, but hey, it's conversation for the ride home.
Yeah, and they'll come up with questions too. A simple question like, what did you think about the movie, can bring up some ideas that your child might have, and that can lead to great conversations about what they saw, what they think, how they feel, what connections they're making to the movie. So it's not just about the elements in the movie, but what things your child took from seeing it.
So in Coco specifically, you could have a whole conversation about, so did you understand, so this is a parent asking the child, did you understand what was happening when they showed the skeleton families? Did you understand that they were taking you to kind of like an afterlife? And then if they're looking at you like, no, then that's a whole conversation.
That's a good, deep conversation.
That's a deep one.
Yeah, and it kind of depends, again, on your child. Is your child ready to have those conversations? But allow them to kind of lead you in that direction, too. They might have questions. And in those answers, you can use the movie to kind of reflect and use it as an example and bring in your own experiences to bring about thought-provoking answers and conversations.
Another thing is the bad guy in that movie was a really bad guy. He was a really bad guy. And so you can have a conversation about what did you think about him? And of course he's going to say, oh, he was mean or he wasn't bad.
Yep.
But, try and get a little bit deeper, like, what do you mean? Or tell me an example from the story. Or what do you think is the worst thing he did? Or, questions
or challenge,
to get more.
what were some good things about this character? Even though it was a bad guy, he might have had some good qualities. It's a good way of challenging
at some point in his life.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a good way, again, to challenge children into kind of making them think deeply about what they're seeing.
What other questions about Coco? Because
Well,
you saw it,
I did. I saw it recently. So the set, by the way, most of our viewers, most of our podcasters did see the movie, of course.
Oh yeah, you put out
We put out a poll
on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and most of you did indeed see the movie. Thank you for voting.
I voted.
Excellent. But you saw it. You clicked yes, right?
Yes, I did.
Admittedly, I clicked no and then watched it. So I did see it recently. So the setting, obviously, is a great element of this movie. Where they are physically. Now, Mexico, right? We know that. But we should have some conversation. You should have some conversation with your child specifically about the city, about where they go within the city, where they go in this afterlife place that they go. What does that look like? How is that different from where Miguel lives? Or how is that different from where you live? So do you live in a city? How is that different from where your grandparents might live, talking to the child? How is that different where we went on vacation that one time? So discussing different settings. But the setting of Coco, impressive because it did
I
have
know, very.
different areas that they went to. So, and it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. Setting, that's a good one.
Setting.
Okay, parents, so there are lots of movies coming out still.
Yeah.
We're still in the middle of summer now, and
What movies are coming up soon?
Okay, I have my notes in front of me.
Check the notes. The notes.
Movies that are coming out. Well, Hotel Transylvania Part 2 already came out.
Right.
So you know what? It's okay if it already came out. You could still have a conversation about it 2 weeks later.
And go back and see Part 1.
Exactly. Or
review.
See it on TV.
Exactly.
And see how things change or how characters change from Part 1 to Part 2.
Correct.
Good idea. Other movies, Avengers,
okay, that's
Incredibles 2, and Jurassic World. That's a big one. That's a big one.
That's gonna be. Is Kevin Hart in that one?
I don't know.
He's coming in that one.
I don't know, but
and Jack Black, I think, is gonna be in that one. He's
really?
Hilarious. I think he's in Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Is that the right movie?
Well, yeah, but this is a new one.
This is
so
a new
who
one
knows?
coming.
Characters change.
Characters
Donna.
do change. That's
Often.
a good conversation too. Yes, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But yeah, there's a ton to talk about in Jurassic World.
That's a good one.
Dinosaurs,
Absolutely.
and then go on a field trip to the museum and take your child to see some real dinosaur bones after that one.
Yes.
That could turn into your own summer field trip.
I love it. Do it.
Yes. Okay, so takeaway for parents.
Here's your assignment for this episode, parents. What should they do, Helen?
Well, the next movie you go to, ask those questions. Get your child into having deeper conversations about everything. But right now we're talking about movies. So get them to talk about those movies. Now, Donna, our parents are going to ask these questions. And are they going to get deep conversations the first time they try?
That's a hard no.
That's a hard no. So parents, don't think.
Don't give up though. Don't give up. Keep trying. Keep trying. Keep trying. Keep trying.
Yes, that's what we do in the classroom.
Yes. Ask again and again and again.
School doesn't start 1 week and then by week 3 they're having deep conversations. No, this is a process.
It's a process. You're gonna get the no's and the I don't knows.
Or they were fine. It was good.
Good.
You know
bad,
what? Keep doing
sad,
it. This
mean,
is the beginning.
boring.
Yes, this is the beginning of your new way of doing things when you go to the movies. So starting now, you're going to go out there and you're going to ask these deeper questions. And then, by next summer or 3 months down the line, when they know that they're going to get questions from you,
that's right,
they're going to get involved.
They'll step up. They'll step up because you're having these higher expectations of the movie going experience. So they'll know what to expect as they go and see and watch and have conversations with you.
Higher expectations.
Ding.
Yes. So that's your takeaway, and this is our episode.
Awesome.
Number 2.
We did
about going to the movies.
Yeah.
And it's not just summer, it's all year round.
All year round. And if you're not going to the movies, you can go to a Broadway show too. I mean, it's okay.
That's stepping it up a notch. I don't even remember the last time I went to a Broadway show, which is ridiculous.
We live in the greatest city in the world. You gotta go to a Broadway show.
Yes. And for those of you that don't know, we live in New York City.
It's okay. It's okay.
But
Come and visit.
But wherever you live, I'm sure you've got some
take advantage.
You have shows going on too. It might not be on Broadway, but
That's
the school play.
Absolutely.
I remember going to school plays all the time because my brother was an actor and went to an acting school, and I went to school plays. But elementary schools have school plays.
Absolutely.
It's a whole different dynamic
Every
seeing
city
actors
has
on
their shows.
the stage.
Absolutely. You have musicals, you have your dances, you have all kinds of stuff. So go. Don't just limit yourself to the movie. Higher expectations. Go to many different things. Vary your art experience. Go to not just museums and movies, but galleries and musicals.
Theater, even if it's your local elementary school play.
I love it.
Me too. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
See you next time.
Bye. Bye.